Hello everyone, welcome back to the RationalInvestor.co. I'm Brian Beamish, the Rational Investor, here with your Bitcoin summary for Monday, August 25th, 2014. We're heading fast into Labor Day weekend here, last week of trading here before the pros come back from the Hamptons. And I suppose Monday, Tuesday-ish is going to be kind of wonky, the 1st and 2nd of September there. I wouldn't be surprised to see some really screwy stuff in the market here over the next week. And, I already see a few things that are really jumping out at me. I don't think we have time to look at that in this freebie video here for you. The purpose of this video is just to give you an idea of what I see happening in Bitcoin land and try and explain sort of what I'm doing and what I'm thinking. As you can see by the site, we're up and running, and I mean, everything's just firing on all cylinders. We basically had the site up and running maybe about a month and a half. The Crypto Daily just blogging away, bloggy, blog, 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 blog. I just love chatting. And some really interesting stuff that's going on right now. I've sort of forced myself to take shorter time frame setups. Just as an effort to try and get a little bit more active on the actual PAM service. So speaking of which, it'd be interesting to see what he's sitting at. I see that BTCE right now is 498-ish or so, something in that neighborhood, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But it'd just be interesting to see if this thing actually shows any movement here. No, it's still showing zeros, which is interesting because well, maybe that's a reflection of closing prices. Because I have actually done a couple trades here, so some stuff for us to talk about. Anyway, let's get on with your video here. So here is our BTCE chart, the daily chart, nice and messy. I suppose for simplicity for this video, I mean, in previous videos, I kind of talked about how, a nice technician really wants to have a marked up chart, and really, I can understand all this, but it's not really fair for you guys to look at that if it's the first time you've ever seen a Bitcoin chart. So, I follow the BTCE because of this PAM service, lots of debate about that. And really, I'm, a student of the market and just sort of watching how all this stuff develops here. But we'll look at the BTCE chart for the purposes of this video. And it's just nice and clean. And I think just the real simple thing that YouTubers should take from this is just, this was this Silk Road event last year right here. And how ironic, looking back in hindsight, it looks like nothing. I mean, we've had just recently swings here, just monstrous moves that totally replicate this, and yet at the time it was considered the end of the world. But anyway, the bullish resolution off of that low all the way up to our rally high back November, December there at 1195.20. And I'm just going to pencil these in here, so don't, they're just eyeball. That's just 94, but it just takes too long to get them exactly right. The point here is that if you were an institution and you were thinking about buying Bitcoins, would you consider buying Bitcoin up here? And the simple answer is no, right? Time and time again, it's been proven. And I'm a big fan of a guy named Huddleston, the Inner Circle Trader on YouTube. He's an old, really, really, really good trader. I mean, hell, I can learn from him every day of the week. And he just has this basic principle here of this optimal trade entry zone, right? And it's the 61.8 to 78.6 fibs. And so we can see that how price, number one, worked its way down into this area. But we can also see that when price did work down its way down into this area, how it was basically bought, right? I mean, every time the market gets down there, it just gets gobbled up. So not really a big surprise. This should be, support area, we'll call it that. Now, the thing that I've noticed with BTCE and you YouTubers, this is really important for you guys, especially new people to trading, is that these are quote-unquote unregulated markets. So you get all this crazy wonky action because these exchanges, they can do any old darn thing they want. I mean, we all know the story of Mt. Gox, right? I mean, that guy just basically walked away with everybody's money. So, and that's, people are enamored with this concept of unregulated markets. Well, this is one definite hallmark of unregulated markets. And when I traded penny stocks, especially things like bulletin board stocks down in the States, all of their charts are filled with this insane action, right? And it's sadly, it's a hallmark of very thin, poor trading structure. But anyway, Bitcoin's going through its growing pains. Will BTCE be the ultimate Bitcoin exchange? Who knows? I have no way of knowing. The only reason why I'm using it is because they happen to have this PAM service and I've thrown some money into it, and we can track off the website how I'm doing with my trade setups. And the great part about what I do with the school is that the onus on people is not to be right. Like, people are obsessed with being right. The onus is to work with setups that statistically work over time, and to make sure that those setups pay you more than if you're wrong. And then that way you just keep taking the setups time and time and time again. And if you demand that appropriate reward from the setup, then statistically you can be wrong 50% of the time and still come out okay. So this recent setup that I've taken don't really have a lot of personal, like, sort of stress or weight on it. I'll talk more in the members video about that, but long and short of it, here's just another setup. But next bus comes along, 10 minutes. So anyway, back to our story here. OTE correction, anytime I got into this area, not a bad buying opportunity. My feeling is you got to be very careful when trading this silly Bitcoin, on these various exchanges. All of the exchanges seem to go through their sort of meltdown du jour. So it's not like BTCE is immune, Stamp is immune, Phoenix is immune. I mean, I've seen it on all of them. So I think on balance, though, somewhere between the, say, $300-400 area, you should be on balance a net buyer of Bitcoins if you are a bull. I mean, maybe you are a bear of Bitcoins and you think this thing's all a big joke, then really you shouldn't be involved in this at all, right? And I suppose you could short off of these tops, but really, I think it's probably better pastures to explore. But anyway, the point that I would just make here, like I said, if you're a buyer and if you're thinking sort of where would the institutions be likely to buy, I think this is the area. Conversely, and now for BTC, and I don't know, maybe we should be using this low here. I mean, maybe that was a mistake in past. So let's just draw that and see what happens if we draw off of this crazy $100 low here. If we just do some simple OTEs but headed in the other direction, let's see what comes up there. So there's 38.2. So not really relevant. There's 50%. There's 61.8. Yeah, I say 6 to 1, half dozen the other. I do find it interesting if we draw it off of this low. And what I really like is, if you work with sort of candle bodies, and the fact that this low is so close to these candle body lows, this is a beautiful sign. If you can ever get this kind of setup, they call them railroad tracks. You see big down, close right on its low, then big up, closed up near the high of its high, and then we went up through the top. That's a beautiful signal in itself. I mean, I suppose you could argue that BTCE did this railroad tracks here recently, but it had this monster tail, which has got me a bit spooked of late. But anyway, if we do the OTE study off of this low, and again, it's not exactly right because I'm just doing this quickly, we do see that, hey, here's 38.2, bang, that looks like that was an important level. And then we see OTE short sweet spot is up here, which just so happens to correspond against these highs. So I'm kind of feeling like this is probably the appropriate way to go. And if we look at the other exchanges, we see that they did not break their 340 lows. So I'm going to just work with this for the next little bit and see, how we do. All right, now corrections to the downside. This is interesting too. If we draw the fibs going this direction, right? And this is from the spring low up to the rally high. We see that 38.2 was a key level here. Bang, right there, right? See how it played off of that. And then we see OTE on this is right in this level here, which just so happens to be where these candle body lows are. So if I let's change that to green too. So it's, I mean, this is interesting, right? This is OTE within an OTE. I love those. And it was up against all of these lows. And the funny thing is, right, is if we go look at, say, something like BTC, USD, if we go look at like Phoenix, for example, and we just see that how that OTE worked actually pretty darn well. Oops. Let's reverse this. Right. So there's OTE right there. Quite sexy. So like I said, I'm a little stumped about this damn BTCE. It's pissing me off a little bit. And from what I understand, Phoenix on TradingView here, the data is a bit corrupted. So I don't know. I don't think it gapped lower like that. So again, this is a function of this unregulated market. It's tough, because Phoenix's low is lower here, I kind of got to be thinking about a nice test of these lows, which sucks because that might bust my little long setup that's working right now, but we'll see what happens. All right, so, if we believe that this OTE is going to hold and we believe that this OTE is for real, what's a realistic shot to the upside then? And here's Phoenix's, right? So up in there. So we could realistically see 600 bucks again. I mean, that's the kick in the pants. And, if my little bullish bot here plays out the way I hope, and really the trading plan, I'm just following the trading plan, so we'll see what happens. And this low holds in here. I don't know if it's going to, but again, we'll see what happens. Interesting how that projects up into the Mr. Mountain Man's level, right up against those highs there, right? So there's definite possibility here, Interesting to see the rally point was right off the 38.2 there, right? Bang, right on the nose. And that's sort of what I'm looking at right now. So there's Phoenix. We sort of jumped over. Let's go back to BTCE. I'm going to have to change the symbol. So there's Phoenix's. I do like this monstrous volume bottom here. You see this low here was lower than this low, but the volume wasn't. So what I do need to see is one more big down volume bar that's lower than these lows. And then down volume to get us a nice down day, down volume where it's down in these levels here. So we're getting closer and closer and closer to what I would consider actually a tradable bottom. Look how the volume bars here were spiky, right? And then we had another spike here, right? And then volume really trailed off. And as soon as it did a volume bar less than this bar, which is 5.34, 5.26, boom. So right in here, any sort of buy volume says a new trend's going to start. So any sort of volume bar higher than these in here, right? Because that would be higher highs, and boom, there's an up bar, started the rally, and boom, just took off. Boom. So I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that's not really that great of an example because what we really wanted to see was a bust of all this up in here, which we got. I don't like the fact that this, maybe actually that might be interesting over time. But anyway, that really stands out to me. I'm going to keep an eye on that too. All right, let's pop back over to BTCE and finish our analysis for you guys there. BTC USD. And because I have to trade on this silly PAM account, it's a bit frustrating, with this crazy low here. Really, I hate to say it, this crazy low basically to me says I shouldn't be doing anything here. But anyway, I forced it, and so I got to live with the results. All right, so, potentially BTCE could have this pattern working. I mean, that's perfectly realistic. We could look back in hindsight and actually see that happen, right? It's there. So, again, when we talk about trading plans, it's not really our job to say the market is going up, the market is going down. You don't get paid for that. Our job is to take setups. This crazy ass setup is there. It is there. I mean, I think I like the Phoenix setup better, and it's probably more realistic, which suggests a shoot up into here, right, which would be OTE. I could very realistically see a nice little inverted head and shoulders here. I don't know what the hell low to use here, but it looks something like that. Where our neckline, and it's a screwy neckline, but basically it's up through here, right? Somewhere up in there. I mean, I hope you don't have to go that high to confirm it, but something along those lines. I mean, even if you just drew the neckline off the clotheslines, right? If we got a nice clothesline up through here, there is potential out there. And the funny thing is the market could go zooming up here, and you'd look back in hindsight and go, "Oh yeah, didn't you see the inverted head and shoulders? It was just totally awesome. Wow, way to go." I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Frankly, I just don't. I don't think there's enough evidence here to, Sometimes I like to use the word term pound the table, right? I don't think this is necessarily a pound the table buy signal in here. But if you look off of the lower time frames, and I'll just leave today's video for you guys with this. This is the 1 hour BTCE chart, and of course it's pretty messy, so actually let's give you a clean chart. This is the clean chart. What we had here, like you can see, this is the big rally off of the lows. Right? And really, when you look at BTCE, the low's all the way down to here, right? It's just a mess. We can get rid of volume for now, right? It's all the way down there. And so what I said is, and somebody was like, aren't you going to trade, yada, yada, yada. So, aside from the wicks, what I just sort of asked myself is, do we have any bullish action? And what we can see here is, just on clotheslines, we have a bit of a double bottom. We have a nice bullish ABCD, and that one did work. Then we had a nice consolidation off of that run. And if you just look at this range here in particular, right, we corrected back down to Mr. Mountain Man 61.8, right, so there's his trade. And then we put in this really nice, very interesting inverted head and shoulders. And we broke out through the top of this inverted head and shoulders. Which, by definition, if I just looking at this range in particular, boom, boom, if this A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, it's met the bought requirements of at least 33%, but no more than 66%. It has a double bottom working, and I have now 3 lows to work with. So textbook-wise, it is a legitimate setup. And really, this is sort of the life of traders, is that if this trade works, my target is way up here at 556. If I take the trade and I get stopped out, and the trade setup here is basically 500 bucks, and I get stopped out at, say, 481 or whatever, then basically I've risked 20 bucks, right? So $50, $60 reward for 20 bucks risk, right? I mean, that's really a trader's life. I don't know if this is going to work out, and frankly speaking, it's fascinating through the trade process. I mean, I even posted, on the other charts, I said that breakouts through this level would be double bottom, and then fire your order in at the bot long entry. And that's basically what I've been doing and what I've been talking about on the blog at length. And what the next video I do after this, I'll for the members, we'll talk at length. So that's basically what I'm doing. I'm in the market. I'm active. Kind of iffy trade, but the kick in the pants when it comes to trading, and if you have something like a 3-to-1 risk reward model, you could be wrong 50% of the time, and if you hit that 3-to-1 risk reward model, you're still extremely profitable. So, live by the sword, die by the sword. I've got to trade on. Got, I think, appropriate stop levels, and really, we just got to let the market work. As for you, YouTubers, I hate to say it, but I really don't think there's anything for you guys to do just yet. Um, my hunch is if this level fails, where are we here? That's the daily. Um, if this low here fails, then we're probably going to swim back down into OTE land, and then I'll hunt for the next setup, right? As a trader. And really now I suppose I've committed myself to trading the bot off of the 1 hours and just taking every setup as it comes along. So we'll see how that goes. My stop's all the way down here. I'm just sitting twiddling my thumbs. And really for you higher time frame traders, I really don't think there's a heck of a lot for you guys to do right now. But anyway, that's just sort of my 2 cents. Okay, guys, so you have a great day. All the best. Probably this video is way too long, but I just sort of wanted to explain what my thinking was here of late. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.